Hey everyone, welcome back to Paramystic Christina. I am your host, Christina Bloom. Before we get started, I would like to remind you to hit that subscribe button, ring bells, share, whatever you got to do. Please like and comment. And I would like to introduce my friend Kelly, who is just an amazing, amazing, amazing human being. She's a psychic medium, she's a healer, she's a numerologist, and don't get her started on food because there's a lot to say about that.
Thank you so much, Christina. Your really is awesome and amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you talk to me about energy and food, I'm nonstop. I'm nonstop.
But you are a powerhouse of information, though. Like you're a
Try.
walking encyclopedia, especially when it comes to healing and numerology and energy. Like you're there. You're right there, right at the top of the heap on that one. So we
Take
we
care.
we have a lot to talk about then, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, I was thinking today, and I don't know, I mean, I'm in the Midwest, you're on the West Coast, and I was talking to a friend of mine who actually lives in Arkansas this morning, and we were both saying like how weird the energy feels today. Do you have that in California going on right now too?
I think that since Pluto went into Aquarius finally, you can kind of feel an energetic shift. Yeah, it does feel different. It feels almost like a slight change of reality. It's very, very subtle, but yes, I feel something different, definitely.
Yeah, it's subtle and a little spooky.
Yes, yes.
And I'm
Aquarius
not,
is like that, a little spooky.
it sure is. Um,
Unexpected spooky.
right, right. It's really interesting to me how just even the people who don't buy into astrology or don't buy into any of this higher strangeness stuff even, but they feel it. They're like, "Oh, I just don't feel right today," or "I'm just grumpy today," or I mean, like here, it's literally almost dark out. That's how cloudy it is here today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's cloudy and drizzly, and um, my kid who lives 2 hours, less than 2 hours from here, sent me a message earlier and is like, "What is the weather like there? Because we are having big snow right now. 45 and
Yes.
drizzly. I don't know what to tell you. It's not
Drizzle.
snowing." Yeah.
My parents, they sent me some pictures from Illinois of how they had snow, and that's cool. That was a couple days ago. And then out here, it's been a mixture. It's actually sunny right now, but not super sunny. But it's been very gray for the most part. And then we've had like little pockets of sun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been different weather-wise too. It's kind of gloomy compared to what it normally is
What
around
it
here.
normally is. Okay.
Yeah.
And that does affect our energy as people. It affects our energy. The weather does matter and the weather's getting weirder. So that is a whole other topic of high strangeness, but it does affect our energy. And that's where I was going with this was energy. Like how when people in three different states, hundreds of miles apart from each other, can feel the difference in the energy shift, there's something going on with
Yes.
with the Pluto and Aquarius thing. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
and so many other things that all the wonderful astrologists like I are tapped into. I'll listen to different people's kind of daily reports,
hmm
and it's just it's fascinating how fine-tuned it is. It really is. So yes, there's definitely an energetic shift in the air. I know that I feel it. It feels lighter.
hmm
And I'm not a daily expert forecast person. I'm definitely not. I can just tell you what I'm feeling.
right.
And Capricorn has like this really sturdy energy. So I don't know if it's correlated somehow, but the Aquarius, it feels lighter. It feels lighter, but like wonkier and disconnected.
Yes.
And but it feels lighter. So I'm like, thank God, even though some people might feel lost or confused,
Hmm.
because it does feel, um, yeah, it feels disconnected. Honestly, it does. In a weird way, I like it, if because it feels not as rigid.
Right. It feels more free.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I think yesterday I had the same conversation with three different people. And that is, everyone's like, I can't get grounded. I feel like I'm floating. I feel disconnected, kind of the same thing that you were saying in different ways. And I really feel that that's like, we've got the 3D, 5D split. We're moving into ascension. And those who have not made a choice as to which way they're going to go are still making that choice, but they might not be consciously aware of it. And that's where I'm seeing they're floating. I mean, I know you're consciously aware of where you're going, but I'm very aware of that. But
I
you
try.
still, but you still know how you feel, right? People who don't understand what's happening in the universe or on Earth with this whole ascension thing, um, they're just confused and feeling like, why can't I accomplish anything? Why can't I move forward with anything? Why do I feel like I'm stuck and floating at the same time?
Yes.
Well, because you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think there's like, many different parts to ourselves too. So
Hmm.
I think part of us might be, ascending into this 5D consciousness. And other parts of ourselves are in 3D. So other parts of ourselves in different categories of our life might really like feel that at times and just be like, why is it so, again, jolted one direction versus the other? So some people might have both feelings going on at the same time. Like I feel
Exactly.
really like connected and, you know, like I've never felt more present in my life, but then I feel like in this category it really sucks.
Yeah. I agree. I agree, right? Because there are certain categories of our life that are definitely 3D.
Yes.
Pay,
Yes.
paying bills, keeping a roof over our heads, but physical self-care, all of that is still kind of 3D, even though our bodies are changing as we move into 5D, right?
Yes, and there's wonderful people in every single field who are, masterful with money and masterful with health and masterful with relationships and friendships and everything under the sun. There's someone that has infused creativity and abundance and, awareness into that area of life.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to throw you a curveball and ask you, so where within all of this are we sitting with numerology, with this
Okay.
shift?
Cool. So, all right, this would go into kind of like global or world numerology. So,
Hmm.
there's individual numerology, and then there's like forecast numerology, and that tends to like everybody rather than individual charts. I specialize more in individual charts and relationships, but I know just a little bit. I don't focus on it super much, but for instance, we're in a world year of 8, and next year we will be in a world year of 9. And so very much we're at the end of the spectrum with how we are kind of wrapping up who we've been and then going into this new identity as a society, as a human species. Globally, you could make it cross over into a lot of different areas. 8 is the number of power and like physicality. So basically this year like would really deal with like the ramifications and actualities of where we're heading. So sometimes with 8, like war sometimes can surge up or political
Hmm.
conflicts. Definitely legalities kind of go into the forefront. Um, and also like everyone takes a collectively takes a long hard look at themselves and they kind of look in the mirror and go, this is what we've created. So it's like a grim reality or a fruitful reality, and there's
Yeah.
these like really strong realizations that you can't get away from and change the channel to. And then going into 9, it's basically that's next year. You're wrapping things up. So you're basically saying, well, what do I want instead I have to again face the music and then start to shift of what I'm going to do. And now I have skin in the game, and I have to release who I formerly was. We have to release these things as a country or globally of how we formerly worked. So massive major shifts. This year, and I actually thought there was going to be more disclosures, but we could be seeing that going into next year, the next 2 years, because that causes us to radically shift. We have
Yeah.
no choice.
Well, and the year's
So
not over yet.
the year's not over yet.
Yeah.
No. Um, and sometimes what happens with an eight is because eight is the number of truth, it kind of gears us up to be that way because we
Hmm.
weren't ready. So what happens is it clears way for that stuff to be ready if we don't get hard hit by it. So yeah, things are gonna massively change. This is the last year where like the change is contested. Um, and yeah, so I don't know all the changes, but politically, economically, socially,
Right.
you're going to see a lot of different views and implementations come into light. And that fits with astrology because we're in the age of Aquarius. And
Right.
Capricorn was very business. It's very monetary. It's very grounded. It's very practical. It's very, we have to go all out hard work. It's very masculine. uh Aquarius is whatever works,
Right.
let's try something radically different.
And it's more flow with it, it feels like to me.
Yeah, and it's less
Yeah.
rules. Capricorn is super rules,
Oh, yeah.
and Aquarius is anti-rules. I hate rules. And it's one of those
Yeah.
anti-establishment numbers. And nine is that way too. Nine hates rules. In numerology, nine does not like rules. It's the number of unconformity. I can't even say that word right now.
Non-conformity?
Nonconformity. Yeah,
Non-conformity, yeah.
nonconformity. Thank you.
You're
Nonconformity.
welcome. No worries. I do that all the time.
And it loves to serve, but it does not like being told what to do, and it does
Right.
not like to assume leadership. It's very Aquarian in a lot of ways. And eight, which the year we're in now, it doesn't like conformity either, but it loves to lead and it loves to bring order. So it only likes to conform if it's the boss. So it's about like stepping into your mastery and saying, we're going to work like this. Um,
Okay.
it's kind of it's very interesting like that.
It's definitely going to be interesting going into it and watching all of this play out. And not just in the United States, but in the whole, on all of Earth. It's playing out everywhere. So that's
Yeah, it's
going to
playing
be
out everywhere. It's playing out everywhere, and yeah, we're basically in astrology and in numerology, in some very global major themes, we're at like the end of the spectrum.
right.
So, and when you hit nine, that's the end. And when you hit one, that's the rebirth and the re-beginning.
Right.
And so Pisces, that's the end. We're at Aquarius. And so, you know what I mean? We're at the top of the hill.
Right. So now it's like right on down. Yep. Um, this is really interesting because not just because we're here and we're living through this, and theoretically, anyway, we've all chosen to be here for this, right? We've all made the decision that we wanted to be here to see this major shift in this one species called humanity, right? Humans. But as we're moving through this, I've noticed that a lot of people, probably myself included, are dealing with weird physical stuff, like weird
Oh,
physical symptoms. And modern medicine doesn't seem to have answers for a lot of it. So
yeah.
as we're moving through this as a healer, are you experiencing people who are reaching out to you and going, I don't know why I feel this way, but I need help?
Yeah. A lot of people, I think, um, overthink even that process. So when they come in, it's almost like when you talk to them, they're like, "Oh, I didn't really realize. Yeah, I'd been feeling this way. I just kind of had a feeling to come on in."
Mm-hmm.
People talk themselves out of things, but I've had, yeah, people reaching out saying like, I don't feel well. I want a reading or a healing, because I just feel off, definitely. That's a thing. And it's so many different things. It's the food, it's the quality of the climate, the environment, it's the quality of the water. And even if like you're spiritually and emotionally and mentally going through things, your body is going to have a really hard time stabilizing, resetting. So from every different angle, um it's not the easiest time right now. You really have to take care of yourself,
Yeah,
on a
I
physical
agree.
level to even navigate some of these emotional, mental things with somewhat of ease. That's what I feel. Everyone's different. Some people are very sensitive, more so than others,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll feel that more on average. But yeah, like for instance, I was feeling a lot of like stress just recently, and so I went into a dark room. I was like, let me just like relax. And I just imagined energy coming off of my back. And doing that, because it had built up so much energetically, my back felt incredibly, incredibly different. Like I went and got a massage, or I went and ran or exercised. And all I needed to do was lift the energy off my back because it had collected so much. So yeah, it's real. And yes, and other people, as they get more energy sensitive, will have more experiences like that of, why am I in pain, or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of people coming to me with that too. And what I've also been having, which is encouraging to me, is people coming to me and going, okay, I've got this physical issue. I know I'm causing it. Can you help me find out how I'm causing it? Because
Okay,
that's
wow.
people taking responsibility for it, but maybe
Yeah.
not getting the answers that they need right away,
Oh, I love
So,
that.
oh, I
Wow.
do
I love that
too.
people have come to you, um, with saying, I'm taking responsibility. I want to be part of my heal. Wow, that's
Yeah, it's just more, I need a direction. I need guidance. I need to know what exactly is it that I'm doing or not doing that I need to change, and that's what they're coming in from readings for me, for body scans or whatever. And it's really interesting to me how many people have been doing that. Like people I've never met before are just contacting me out of the blue and wanting to get information because either they were referred or they just saw my name somewhere and it clicked. They're just drawn for whatever reason. But I feel like you have a lot of that too. Like you have people who contact you and go, I've seen you online and I feel like you can help me.
I get a mixture of different,
Yeah,
yeah, I get a mixture.
yeah, I do too. But
And
it's
it's like, hey,
interesting.
like, what would you like? Or
What
this is what I
exactly?
recommend.
Yeah, what exactly are you looking for?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think it's so important that there are people like us who are out where people can see us, where people can find us. Because as we're going through this, there's people need guidance, or they feel like they need guidance, or they feel like they need answers. And mostly they just want to be told they're not crazy, I think.
Yeah,
I'm getting a lot of that too.
yeah.
Just, yeah,
I think that's really important because a lot of people, um, are trying to figure out what's going on, and they know that it doesn't feel normal. And when you talk to your friends and family, whether you fully trust them or not, but you're trying to get like a reference on what's normal, most people, they might have experienced something like that too, but then they've told themselves it's not normal. So you're not going to get much validation unless
right.
you have a very open-minded friend. Um, and they should tell you, I don't know, and not try to sway you one way or another unless they are a professional themselves.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. You have to be
Exactly.
around people who make this their life's work in order to start to go, huh, what is that?
Yes. Yes. What is that? That is the number one question I'm getting lately. What is that? What is going on? Why is the whole world lost their mind? There's because we're going through this shift, and when there's big changes, nothing feels like it did before, which is a good thing in my opinion, but it's still different. And it's still, for some people, it's a struggle. And I think even for us, some days it's probably a struggle. You know, when my body is changing too, right? Because we're changing from a carbon base to a more crystalline base. So our bodies are literally going through a metamorphosis, and
Metamorphosis, yeah.
metamorphosis. Yes, us and our big words today. We're struggling. All right. So, but it really is, when we're going through these changes, we are literally going through these changes right along with everybody else. The thing is that it's our job to figure out what the changes are and how we can explain it to people.
Yeah, exactly. Um, knowledge and wisdom gives us power. And, you're talking about our bodies are crystallizing, our minds are crystallizing the information too. And
Yes.
like all of this stuff, it's just like a natural part of the universe's order or what is just happening to everyone. So since it's not just a unique experience, it's not just I'm connected to spirits or I feel things within people and it's just because I'm sensitive. It's like, no, because anyone can do it as long as they've opened themselves up and they've started to really understand what it takes to be that way. And um it's just a part of us tuning into something that's real and out there. And yeah, the more people do the work, the more we're going to have like this like dictionary or understanding of why this is happening, who, what, where, and why. um it's going to be
Yeah.
less mystical. It really is.
Yeah.
And people shouldn't be scared. They should just seek people out who have done work so they don't have to be scared.
Right. Right. It is amazing. This is such an amazing time to be alive, first of all. But, people who've done the work, let's go into that just a little bit. Shadow work,
Yeah.
because boy, we are really being able to see the line between the people who've done their shadow work and the people who have not addressed their shadows. It's
Yes.
becoming painfully obvious. And
Yes.
shadow work is a scary thing. First of all, we call it shadow work, which is kind of a scary phrasing for doing your own inner work, for doing your own inner healing, which is really what it comes down to, is being honest with yourself about, and not you specifically, but you generally, being honest with ourselves about why we behave a certain way or why we feel a certain way, or being honest with ourselves about, things from way back when, 20 years ago or whatever, that resurface again to be dealt with. And, I don't know about you, but I've talked to a lot of people who are like, I already dealt with this at a couple of levels, but you're going deeper now.
Yes,
it's
that's
it's
very,
it's releasing from a deeper place. But the thing is that by the time you get to that point, you already have a process, right? So you know your process and how to release it, and it doesn't take months or years. Now it can take a matter of a few minutes.
that's true. That's true. Certain processes really work well for us. And then there's certain things where even though we are, let's say, a level 3 at releasing something, maybe the next level requires something very different for release. That's why it's
Yes.
the next level.
Yes.
Um, so for people who are overtly confident with they have their stuff in check. Um, I would say that's really cool, but I would just, how can I put it? I think we have to be like really humble when it comes to the soul.
Yes.
um, and really humble with what it means to like go into spirituality and existence. It's so much
Mm.
more than we can fathom. That's why it is mystical. So uh you can just kind of say, I'm at this point, right? Rather
Mhm.
than I have the answer. I'm at this point with it. And there's a lot of really, really awesome, sweet, and kind people out there. Um, but they're not diving into their shadows. And
Right.
there's areas within my life where I'm really good with shadow work. And then there's other areas where I haven't spent time to do shadow work. And I'm just like, damn, like I need to sit down and work on that. And I can't find time to do that.
Right.
No
Right.
wonder why this is happening in my life.
And I think we all have those areas. As long as we are still in a human body, we're still working through stuff. We're still learning. We're still experiencing. And that's why we came into these bodies to experience.
Yeah, it is. I'm making sure I'm not like cussing, but it is. It's definitely it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming
Hmm.
on some days for sure. It's a
Yeah.
lot. It'd be cool if it wasn't always something.
I love the way that you rephrase things. You just catch it and turn it around. You you are a
Please,
master.
sir. Please, sir, I don't want some more.
No, no more, please. Please. Here, take my plate. I don't want any more. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It is. And so many of us are going through so much all at one time as we're because this is growing pains, the way I see it anyway. It's growing pains. We are as a species growing and as a spiritual conglomeration entity, I don't know whatever you want to call it, but the human spirit is growing. And I've noticed that so are other animals. I don't know if you've noticed that too.
Yeah. I know that I have four cats. Um and I feel like they're growing. I definitely see changes in evolutions, but I wonder sometimes like, oh, is that your soul growing? But I have to look at more of the animals just in general on Earth, and I do feel that. I do feel that. What do you observe?
I've been observing different stories where animals are communicating more clearly with
Yeah.
humans. Other animals, because we're animals too, but other animals are communicating with us more clearly. They're very clearly saying, back off. They're very clearly saying, this is my yard, get off the grass. you know, they're and I've seen also where animals are coming to humans to get help with things that they can't get help that they can't do. Like I've seen several videos where an animal will come up to a human and get their attention to follow them because another animal is stuck under something, or it's I've been seeing a communication between species that is more concrete than animal communication in a psychic sense.
I do agree with that. And I love the animal videos, and I do notice that like across the board there's just more, like whether it's telepathy or whether it's just consciousness on connecting to the human species, and they're able to do that now because they've evolved. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's definite growth on that. I mean, I remember going as a kid, I'd go to like a shelter or a pet store when I was younger because I really loved cats. And I still love cats. I have four of them, for God's sakes. Um, and I would like interact with them, and I'm like, this is awesome. But I notice now, and I don't know if it's because I'm more conscious. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just like,
Hmm.
I guess the reason I guess I'm talking about this is it's like a two-way street. So we're all
Yes.
collectively evolving, and they're coming with us. Because now I go into like shelters, and especially with cats, I feel like there's just so much more on both ends of this, you know, from me
Mm-hmm.
and from them, where I'm just like, wow, like, you know, we've come so far.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
aware of how you feel. And I used to not be like that, you know, even though I
Yeah.
wanted to be like that as a kid. I used to want to have all that information about the little animal in front of me, but I couldn't feel that. I can feel that
Right.
with humans sometimes. I think I had to learn with animals. I had to learn with animals though, even though I've
Right.
always loved animals.
I feel like you made a very good point there, is that, we are advancing too, and maybe we're the ones actually catching up with them.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Like our energy is rising up enough to connect with the other species on this planet where we can understand their communication better.
That's yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's all together and I
It's all
don't know.
together.
Right. And I feel like definitely we're all evolving. It's incredible though. I mean, I have you know, four cats and they all have very different personalities. Um, they all balance each other out really well. It's really interesting because
Hmm.
it's like one's more earth energy and one's more fire and one's more, you know, air and water. So it's very like they're very well balanced and they're very truly different. Um, and so I have this one boy, he's like kind of the leader, and he's super sweet and super social, and like he wants to meet everybody and be everyone's friend, so he's really bendy with what he's up for, but he's very stubborn. Like if he wants something, he wants something. And he'll let you know, like if you pick him up, like he'll hit you on the face and be like, it's time for me to go down. And I'll be like, please don't do that. And then he'll listen. Like if he's in a good mood or if you played with him and stuff like that,
Hmm.
he'll be like, okay, I won't do that. Like he'll respond based on like he knows that he's out of line, but he's such a big personality that sometimes he's like, I'm done and I'm giving you 0.5 seconds or less to put me down. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
it's not because he's mad, it's just he's like, this is what I want now, right? Or like I'll
Yeah.
call him and I'll be like, hey, like, because he's a cuddler. I'll be like, come over and cuddle with me. And he'll just stare at me and he'll be like, no, I don't want to. And I'll be like, please. And he's like, no, I don't want to. But if I ask him in my mind, hey, I really want to cuddle with you, like, can you do it today or later? Or can you come tomorrow? He'll usually do it. He'll
Wow.
usually do it. And I can go days and days and days without asking him if he's had a dry spell and he won't come. But literally, I'll be like, I miss you. Can you come? And he'll come because I asked him in my mind. And I don't know how he knows that other than, you know, the psychic, telepathic, energetic connection that I believe
Right.
in. But I'm just like, I don't know how he hears it. Like, exactly. It's fascinating.
Telepathically? I don't know. Telepathically,
Yeah,
maybe?
but he and the other cats are like that too. I'll just be like, please don't do this, or I'll send them a message and they'll listen. I'll see changes or they'll do what I asked. And I kind of go, I'm gonna give you space and time for this, but like, please, I miss you, or I want this, or I don't want that. And they will integrate it. It's totally a thing, but not if I actually ask them with my voice in the moment always. That could be unless you feel that heart connection and they're like, I
Right.
want to work with you. Yeah, let's they'll be like, uh-uh.
Cats have this wonderful way of having boundaries.
Yeah.
We could really learn a lot from cats about boundaries.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're like, not I'm gonna go do me now.
Exactly. It is so interesting to me though. It's like literally the world coming together but falling apart to come together. And it's just this whole very strange thing. Have you noticed any shift in like with your mediumship readings?
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting because yeah, sometimes I really look at my own energy and then I notice, you know, things within the world. And sometimes I'm like, I can't change what's going on in the world, but I do notice things. So I think I put a little more emphasis on how my own energy is with how my mediumship evolves and shapes. I do think, and I've talked to a lot of mediums since like around 2012, because there's like these certain shifts that, you know, people comment on experiencing. I noticed that around that time a lot of people felt a consciousness shift and a sensitivity shift,
Hmm.
and people felt that around COVID too. So I do think there are these, yes, globalized frequency changes. Like for myself, I definitely have, yeah, felt different internal shifts that I can talk about as well. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have too. I have too. I've noticed it with other people and I've noticed it with myself as well. When people are wanting to communicate with those on the other side, like their loved ones who have passed on, and I'm getting more and more from the other side. Like I'll stop and visit for a little while, but I have things to do. It's like they are helping us from the other side of the curtain to get us
Yeah.
through to get us through this
I
shift.
I do feel like um spirit is around more,
Hmm.
and there's going to be more of that within our lives. Maybe there's like an alien race or species that are much more energetic as almost like spirit that we
Hmm.
will, start to connect with, or will be connected to life that is that has like a different essence where it's not the same building blocks of what we're used to with what reality is.
Hmm.
I definitely notice it's easier to connect over there. And sometimes I wonder, I go, well, is it because I just work? I work and my mind's there all the time. Is it just easier for me personally to pick that up, or the things that I've intended and wanted to
Yeah.
shape within my life? I wonder if that's what it is too. But yeah, I notice it is just easier.
I've noticed it is too. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that, right? I mean, it could be because we are working in it all the time, so we're closer to it. It could be that they are literally helping us from the other side. And it could be just that we are vibrationally closer to it,
Yeah, I
you
think it's a
know?
mixture. I
I
think it's a
think it
mixture
is too.
because I hear from people like with just their responses and answers. Um, on certain levels, I'll be like, whoa, like they really are not picking up like what I'm putting down or what's in front of them, or they've never experienced this. And you can tell how separate the perception is. And
Hmm.
then on another level, people will comment, and even if they're not like intentionally connected, they'll be able to just pick up on like little pieces of information. And I'm just like, I've never, I guess, observed that with people prior,
Right.
right? So yeah, I think everyone is just collectively more sensitive. But if you haven't established that within yourself, or actually opened yourself up to that reality, you'll probably just be at random with it,
Right. Right.
where
And
you're
this is,
just,
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
exactly. And this is like another weird aside thing because it absolutely has to do with just the word sensitive. Because in our culture, sensitive has kind of gotten, in some ways, a negative connotation. It's become an insult in some ways. And so people kind of struggle with that word sometimes, which is why I've switched to using vibration. It's just that your vibration's higher. So you're able to feel this more, you're able to connect more because your vibration's higher. Oh, well, that's cool. I can handle that. But if you tell them that they're sensitive, they're like, no, I've been told I'm sensitive my whole life. I'm not sensitive. you know, we're explaining
Sure.
the same thing though.
Sure. I think like context is everything.
Hmm.
And yeah, like we have to kind of guide people with the idea that they of who they can be and what it actually means. It's not just this word is this one thing, and we're gonna keep it, and just the negative connotation that
Right.
most people connect it to. You have to guide people out of that and give them all these different references.
Yes.
Life is so much more than that. And
Hmm.
like I have a quote, and it's up on my Facebook. I should put it more places, honestly, but it's a quote that like I wrote out because I was aware of what you're talking about,
Hmm.
and I wanted to people to embrace their sensitivity in a positive way. So I have a saying that goes, sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, we have abundance. That's how the psychic hour starts, actually. It's the
Yes, I
opener.
noticed that. I love that.
Yeah. It's a superpower to be sensitive.
It
That means you're
is.
absorbing more. And if you're really, really smart and you're absorbing more information, then you're probably going to ace the test or be ahead of the curve. I mean, like,
Yeah,
come on now.
exactly. 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 It is interesting, what is the word I'm looking for, but the wording that we use matters, I think. You know.
Yes. Yeah, the language is power. Uh, I I can't recall it as delicately put as Carolyn Mace. I really encourage people to go check out Carolyn Mace because she actually talks about a lot of the things that we're talking about, and she
Yes.
goes into philosophy with it of why systems are are broken and then rebuild and what it does to the people and society. It's just amazing, and she has like a whole section on a spiritual madness and pertaining to dark night of the soul and what we go through when we're starting to re-evolve through seeing things and experiencing things through a lens so different than what we've told is real,
Right.
and how we've lived our life prior. um, Oh my gosh, I was going to say something that just flew out of my mouth. Flew out of my head before it flew out of my mouth. You said something and it reminded me of Carolyn Mace, and I can't think of that one thing that I was thinking of. I just started thinking about
Like
all the other
the
things.
wording that we use, I think, is what I was talking
The
about. Like,
wording.
yeah,
Ah,
the way
yeah,
we phrase things.
the I've seen her lecture a couple times. I've been blessed to, and she has gone into several times talking about how like language is power, words are power,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're actually able to feel something or experience something, and if you actually have the word for it, now the idea can be passed.
Yes.
Okay. So it kind of is like you could be experiencing things, but if you have no idea how to relay it and relate it, like within yourself or with another person, it progress cannot happen at the same rate. But she went into so many other beautiful departments with it, but that's what made me think about it.
Yeah, she did. I was blessed to see her live at a 2-day retreat that she
Ooh,
did. Yeah, there were probably 300 people there. It was pretty incredible.
yes,
But
because you're in the Midwest and that's where she is too.
no, that was
Yeah.
actually in Seattle when I lived out
Oh,
there.
wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
she's like based in Chicago.
She
And so,
is.
wow. Okay,
Hmm.
cool.
Yep.
Wow.
I would know she was based in Chicago if I didn't know anything about her just by listening to her talk. Because she sounds exactly like my family from Chicago.
That's awesome. I've never thought about that. I've never thought about that piece.
Yeah,
And I'm from Illinois too as well. I've never thought about she sounds like she's from Chicago or
she
that area.
does.
Oh, you're more sound based than I am then.
I think I am. I'm very sensitive to like different accents and that sort of thing because I pick them up so easily. So, yeah, I
That's
get
cool.
that. We have just a couple of minutes left. I can't believe this has gone this fast. It's been really amazing talking with you. But how do people get a hold of you if they would like to make an appointment or attend a class or anything that you're doing?
Sure. So people can find me through kellybrickel.com or Kelly Brickel on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, even Twitter. And as well, you can find me under Sacred Spiral Network. And so that is the network I've created. I'm continuing to build it and create it, that features a lot of wonderful hosts and spiritual teachers too, as well, sharing their gifts with you for free. Um, it's a wonderful, just community building resource for everybody. So you can find me through those places.
That's awesome. And thank you so much. And I know I was a guest on your show and you're a guest on my show. And I love this because I love when we have a conversation because all of these wonderful things come from that conversation. And I just absolutely love that. Um, So, everyone, Ms. Kelly Brickel, who is an amazing, smart lady. And thank you all so much for tuning in, for listening to Paramystic Kristina. Remember again, hit subscribe, ring bells, like, share, invite friends. Let's get more people in touch with this information. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Oops.